the original 10 standard orders came from as a result of the Man Gulch fire in '49, when a group of people who had had their feet in the fire, who understood fire, what we'd call the old fire horse now, they got their heads together. The chief of the Forest Service said, we need some orders that people can follow that would help them be safe on the fire line. And so these original orders came out, and they were called the 10 Standard Orders. And they began in a logical sequence, I think, of importance in the minds of the people who developed them. And they said, first we want to start with fire behavior, because that's the enemy. We want to know what the fire is going to do, what the enemy is going to do. And then they went to fire line safety, because we want to keep our people safe from this analysis that we've made of the fire behavior, and plan our actions according to what we think is going to happen. And then they said we need some organizational control. So the last 3 orders dealt with organizational control. And then they came up with that 10th standard order that in the fire orders has become the first order, which everybody remembers, no matter whether it's the 10 standard orders or the fire orders. People remember fight fire aggressively, but provide for safety first. And in the course of our conversation here, I'd like to change that a little bit after we've gone through the 3 fire behavior, safety, and organizational management phases of things. I'd like to tell you how I'd propose changing that last 10 standard order. But the first of the standard orders dealt with fire weather. And it was stated like, keep informed on fire weather conditions and forecasts. Now, when we think of fire weather, we always think, well, the meteorologist is going to provide that. But the way that order was stated, it said, imperative, not stated, but you keep informed on fire weather conditions. Look at that word conditions a minute. The meteorologist is not going to give you those conditions. That's something that you see. That's the cumulus cloud that's building out there that you can observe, that's not observable, that tells something about stability. That's the use of that belt weather kit, which tells you what the temperature, but especially the relative humidity is doing in the area. So these are observable things. And the forecast, keep informed on fire weather forecasts, that's the responsibility of the meteorologist to make the forecast, but it says you keep informed of the forecast. It doesn't say the meteorologist, the dispatcher, or anybody else is got that responsibility. You have that. And so that having looked at the weather and the influence that has, you go then to the second order, which says know what your fire is doing at all times. Observe personally, use scouts. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory, but it's a little hard to implement sometimes when a fire gets large. And that's where some of the other orders come into play about communications and about lookouts and the likes. So the third order then, again, related to fire behavior, but now we're talking about tactics. We say base all action on current and expected behavior of the fire. It's real important there. Now you can see how those work together. When you think of fire weather and how in the morning humidity's high, how in the afternoon it's going to go down. So if your fire is sort of just smoking and smoldering around in the morning, you expect that. And then you expect some changes to take place in the afternoon as the humidity drops, the temperatures rise, and usually the winds go up. So that's the first 3 orders, dealing with fire behavior. The next 3 orders deal with safety. And the first, and I might not get these in exactly the sequence they had them, but that's not important. The sequence isn't as important as the grouping. When you think of fire safety, maybe you think of escape routes right away. So it says have escape routes for everyone and make them known. Just having escape routes by themselves doesn't do any good unless people know. And so if you're one of the person that has to plan the escape route, that's one thing. You let people know. If you're one of the persons that's going to use those escape routes and haven't planned it, then you have to say, hey, where's our escape route? So it's a two-way street all the time. And that comes with communications and organizational control when we get to those 3 orders. But then the next one says, post a lookout when there's possible danger. And that just means any kind of danger. But of course, one of the primary dangers in firefighting is fire behavior. Now we've examined that, so you post a lookout with those concerns. That person might be taking the weather, just as a sidelight. And the third one says, be alert, keep calm, think clearly, and act decisively. Hey, that has a lot to do with safety. But that's very difficult sometimes after a 24-hour shift to be alert. Keeping calm, I think, comes from the fact that you've already analyzed the fire behavior. And so that helps to keep calm. Thinking clearly, again, refers back to what you've done and what you've documented and how, as a group, I don't care whether it's a two-person smoke chaser outfit, jumpers, what we look at there is that you have some consistent way of monitoring fire behavior so that being alert, keeping calm, thinking clearly, and acting decisively comes as a methodology as much as anything else. And that leads us to the next three, which deal with organizational control. And we talk about maintaining communications, maintain communications with your men, your boss, and adjoining forces. It's important, to have several ways to do this. You can be innovative. I know in other training courses you talk specifically about communications. But now we're talking about organizational control in this 10 standard orders. The next one we talk about is maintaining control of your people at all times. Again, going back again to the fire behavior, the first three, you maintain that because you've analyzed the situation you're looking at. And that gives confidence both in the people that you're supervising and in yourself to say, hey, I can maintain control because we've done this analytically. We've looked at this. We know the situation we're in. And the next one there says, and I have to glance down here to take a quick look, is to give clear instructions and be sure they're understood. Now I know, Ted, when you're thinking about instructions, like you give clear instructions, and I give clear instructions, but are they understood? Now this is where the people have to feedback. If I give an instruction to somebody and it's not clear, they have to ask. And of course that prompts that communications. It's just so important. And then we come to the last of the 10 standard orders, the original 10 standard orders, which says fight fire aggressively, but provide for safety first. And here's the change that I would make in that, Ted. I would say fight fire aggressively, having provided for safety first. Having looked at the fire behavior and all those things around it, having looked at your tactics, and going down to your safety, and then down to your organizational control, leads to safe action on the fire.